Hi.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sis.
Hi. Yeah.
It's
Hello,
been a long
family.
24 hours, right?
Yeah. We're uh we're encountering some technical difficulties, but we think we've got it figured out. So bear with us. And yeah. Um, I have been looking at the YouTube channel, and I every evening as I'm drifting off to sleep, I'll check in and look at the comments that you guys are leaving, and it's really profound. The comments and the sharings. And I had this wave of emotion that came up, and I just wanted to share it really quick because I really get how big and meaningful it is what we're doing. And because I can feel you guys so strongly, there's just no doubt that we're all awakening together. And there are times where I can show up and I'm really present and I'm full of love for you and full of love for Sis and Jesus and the message. And you guys can feel those times. And I have to confess that there are other days where I'm looking at, in the dream, it seems like you guys are tailing us. We're trying to get these recorded before you come to the lesson. And so in my mind, it's like, well, I'm going to sit down with Sis and we can get 3 or 4 recorded today. And that's the attitude of going in. It's like just to get something recorded. Not that I don't take it seriously, but in the back of my mind, it's like, well, we can get through 3 or 4 today and keep that space between where you are and where we are recording. And anything less than 100% is not worthy of Jesus and you. And so I simply just wanted to apologize for the times that I show up, but I'm not at 100%. And so you guys are giving me that gift of being totally undivided and completely, all in. And just to be sure that I've spent some time with the lesson and that I'm vertical and that my mind isn't distracted looking at the numbers and how far we are. So I'm asking for your forgiveness, and I'm also expressing my gratitude for each and every one of you to help me come even more into alignment. Yeah, you don't deserve anything less than 100%. So thank you.
Beautiful. What a beautiful confession. Thank you, sis.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Feeling that. Thank you.
yeah.
That's so beautiful. You know, in all honesty, when we get together, there are most mornings it's on full power. And I think that our YouTube family, Course in Miracles YouTube family, really can feel that with both of us, right? We join
Yeah.
in that heart space, in the mind, the right mind. But some mornings when Sis and I feel a little compromised by believing what the ego is trying to convince us of, which is illusion, right? Um, it takes a while for us to come back vertical again. Yeah. But one thing that's occurred, and this has happened, well, I'm speaking for myself,
Mm-hmm.
is that even if I start and I'm wobbly
Mm-hmm.
because of you guys,
Yeah.
it pulls me into the light, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then I can feel that entering into the light. That must be the light of Christ. That must be our shared holy self, right?
Right.
Then what happens then is that the Christ takes over, the holy self takes over. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And at the end of the lesson, I feel healed because Sis and I have joined,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys and us have joined, and there's a huge healing here.
Yeah.
So thank you. There's been no lesson that we've done up until now, and we're on 128,
Mm-hmm.
where I haven't felt that healing. Not one.
Right.
In the end,
Yes.
even though we might start out wobbly.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that beautiful?
It is. And
Yeah.
yeah,
We are
that.
being blessed and healed by our beautiful Course in Miracles family.
Oh,
Thank you.
And there's no words to communicate the gratitude, like the light, the the experience of the light directly.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you say thank you for that? You show up more vertically. You become more congruent.
Yeah, you show up more vertically, I think, sis. Yeah, but for me, is it's really receiving that, like not just intellectually, but receiving it into our heart. And this is for all of us. It's, you know, resting in that receiving.
Thank you.
And that's how it's shared. It's shared through resting in that receiving. Thank you.
All right. So today's lesson is lesson 128.
One of my favorites.
What does that
I
mean?
got to say that I had a very strong aversion to this lesson for about 20 years. So another confession to make. It's embarrassing to the ego,
Oh,
but it was like there's something about this lesson.
yeah, it's a real drag if if you're reading it from the ego.
Right.
It
Yeah.
does not like this lesson. I think that's probably why we're having all these technical issues on recording today. But because it's your favorite, does that mean that you want to read it?
Wow. What a privilege.
Yeah. I'm just trying to be truly helpful.
I know that you're not supposed to be special to me, but you are. Okay. We're up to lesson 128. The world I see holds nothing that I want. What does yours say in your version? I have the FIP version and you have the COA version. What does your lesson say?
The world I see has nothing that I want.
Mm. Um, mm, I don't know which one I prefer. It works both ways, right?
Yeah, I think it doesn't deviate too much. We get
Well,
the
the
gist.
content's the same, but the form might be slightly different. And the ego obsesses. It obsesses on arguing differences of form, right?
Right.
But if the content's the same, in other words, the meaning, the intent, then why argue about the form?
That's a great question.
Mm.
That pretty
Okay,
much
so
applies to everything.
what's that?
I said that applies to everything.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Okay. The world I see holds nothing that I want. The world you see holds nothing that you need to offer you. What? Wait a minute. The world you see holds nothing that you need to offer you, nothing that you can use in any way, nor anything at all that serves to give you joy. Wait a minute. I love this. Nor anything at all that serves to give you joy. But what about Mother Nature?
Right.
All right. Okay. What about the pretty birds in my backyard and my wild pet mice in the backyard
Right.
and
Yeah.
my bobcats? Oh, sis, we've got to share the bobcats with.
Okay.
Oh, the world I see holds nothing that I want. See how quickly we get distracted.
Squirrel. I have the pictures of your bobcats if you'd like to share them with the group. They might like that. But anyhow.
Yeah, another day, right?
Okay.
But it's so easy to just
Yeah.
get distracted with everything in the world and go, yeah, but there are things in the world that are above God. Okay.
Our substitutes.
Yes, substitutes, yeah. So getting back to this first paragraph, believe this thought, the world I see holds nothing that I want, and you are saved from years of misery, from countless disappointments, and from hopes that turn to bitter ashes of despair. No one but must accept this thought as true, if he would leave the world behind and soar beyond its petty scope and little ways. Each thing you value here is but a chain that binds you to the world, and it will serve no other end but this. For everything must serve the purpose you have given it, until you see a different purpose there. The only purpose worthy of your mind this world contains is that you pass it by, without delaying to perceive some hope where there is none. Be you deceived no more. The world you see holds nothing that you want.
I'm going to close my door because my wind chimes are picking up because the wind's picking up. Hang on.
Sure. Close the world off, sis.
Yeah, close the door. I don't want the wind chimes. That's really good, right? I mean, what you're bringing up, because the ego says if you have lots of money, or you get to travel the world, or you have a beautiful, strong body, or the perfect exclusive romantic relationship, the perfect job, the perfect house. Again, we're all very willing to forgive and to heal the mind so that we are, delivered from all forms of sickness and pain and suffering and lack. And the ego, to make this seem worthwhile, a good trade for God, is that it has its version of what is good and will bring us satisfaction and pleasure and joy. So the ego has, right, its definitions. And I was thinking about, those are the real obvious ones, but I sat here and I said, what might be some ones that were not so, that aren't so obvious, but are still hooking us to think that there's something here in the world that we're pursuing and would have a payoff. The I know mind, a mind that seems to think that it knows something, is smart. A spiritual teacher or a spiritual healer, right? The spiritualized ego that thinks that it has something independent of its brothers and sisters to offer, that's going to get, notoriety or attention. Being a good problem solver, or even a good listener. An independent authorizer, anybody in a position of authority, they're looked up to, or people respect them, right? How about a brilliant business person? Ooh, they have a sharp mind for business. Personal fundraiser for a worthy cause. Or what if you're somebody out there fighting the good fight for a good cause, right? There's another way.
Yeah, can I add to that one, sis?
Yes.
A good giver.
A good, yeah.
A giver, but a giver that's also a martyr, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's some passive aggressive stuff underneath that. And what Jesus would call inappropriate giving.
Mm-hmm.
Because underneath all that giving is a sense of such deep, deep unworthiness. Yeah. Yeah.
I know that one.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. And being an influential person. So those are some other ways that we kind of all nod and say, yes, this would bring us accolades and the attention and the appreciation and approval in the world. And yet it's the ego. It's being done apart from God. There's nothing in any of those that we really want. And actually what the ego wants us to believe is, oh yeah, there's plenty there and you should seek for it. And you should spend many years grooming yourself to become a better giver, business person, influential authorizer, right? It's because it's seek and don't find. And that's why he starts out saving yourself years of misery, because you'll never find. Sorry, sis, go ahead.
Yeah, go. Your hand in hand thought just came through. Yeah, and this is something I fell into the trap of, everybody does, is that when we go down that path, right, trying to be a better person, a better human, instead of forget about being a better human, it can't be perfected, right?
Right.
We need to move in vertically rather than horizontally, and we need to undo the human part, by renouncing the human, the world, and its idol,
Mhm.
the body, renouncing belief that we are just the body and not spirit. But the other thing that goes hand in hand with that is the idea of making a better dream
Mm.
in any way, right? Oh, I've seen that diagram somewhere before. It looks very familiar.
Yeah. Right. Why can't we make a better human? You know, what's wrong with doing what we were just talking about, that laundry list? That's because the lighting's really weird right now. But you can see the guy, the figure, right? The mythical me
Mm.
doesn't exist. So first mythical me, and then all those things that you try to add onto it.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how much you put in the gap that's happening in the illusion. And the first lie, that you became a body or a mortal being, a human, um, is the only lie that we really need to address. Jesus says, you've got one problem. You think this is you. And there's
That's
one
it.
solution, that this whole this gap doesn't exist, because that's the only reality. Okay? Just a good thing to come back to. All those things that we're pursuing in the world is to add onto the first lie, and it's only happening in this gap, and the gap doesn't exist.
That's it. That makes it so simple. There's only one problem and one solution.
Right.
But the resistance to that is so humongous.
And why? Because we have things that we have used as a substitute. We have a love that's not God's love, our special love, right?
Mm.
Or we really believe that this world has payoffs, and that to let it go would be a sacrifice. And this is what we have to come to see, to truly recognize that if it's in the ego thought system, it's not real, and it will never pay off as much as you think it will. Can we be honest? Has it ever? Can it change? Can it die? Can it be taken from you? Well, then it's not true.
Now I get it.
Oh, good.
Finally. 31 years.
I'm becoming quite the snorter. Okay.
Oh, yes, good. Oh, Lord. Here we go. Shall I keep reading?
Why not?
Yes, here we go. Escape today the change you place upon your mind when you perceive salvation here. For what you value, you make part of you as you perceive yourself. All things you seek to make your value greater in your sight limit you further. I want to say it again.
Wow.
All things you seek to make your value greater in your sight limit you further, hide your worth from you, and add another bar across the door that leads to true awareness of yourself. He's speaking about your holy self, your shared identity, right? Let nothing that relates to body thoughts delay your progress to salvation, nor permit temptation to believe the world holds anything you want to hold you back. Nothing is here to cherish. Nothing is here to cherish. I know that now. Nothing here is worth one instant of delay and pain, one moment of uncertainty and doubt. The worthless offer nothing. Certainty of worth cannot be found in worthlessness. Now, what I've learnt recently in the last 3 or 4 years, when he says nothing here is worth one instant of delay and pain, one moment of uncertainty, self-doubt, guys, all right? And doubt, right? Self-doubt. What he's saying here is it's not just the things that we pursue in the dream that we think is going to improve our dream, our body, our life, our relationships. But he says here, nothing here is worth one instant of delay and pain, uncertainty, or self-doubt whenever through the body's 5 senses we see something that threatens our peace. especially if it's, a diagnosis or, for ourselves or for a loved one, um, any kind of threat whatsoever. As soon as we go into doubt, uncertainty, we have dropped down that rabbit hole again, and we have lost touch with Holy Spirit, with our holy self. And we're going to try and solve that problem from the ego because we, first of all, believe it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And once we believe it's real, we can't forgive it. So Holy Spirit is then denied or rejected by us because we've gone and gone, okay, this problem's real and I'm going to solve it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you want to add to that, sis?
No, you explained that beautifully. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, so it's not just the bells and whistles of human life here in the dream. It's the agony as well, the trauma. Yeah. It's all got to be, eventually, it's all got to be seen the same as completely neutral.
Mm-hmm. Because
I'm getting there slowly. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I'll keep reading. Today we practice letting go all thought of values we have given to the world. And Jesus explained to me, recently too, that he's also speaking about the body here. It's not just the world. Let's include the body in these lessons. When he speaks of the world, he's also including the body. So today we practice letting go all thought of values we've given to the world and the body. We leave them free of purposes we gave its aspects and its phases and its dreams. We hold it purposeless within our minds. Wow, that's big. We hold it purposeless within our minds and loosen it from all we wish it were. Thus do we lift the chains that bar the door to freedom from the world and go beyond all little values and diminished goals.
So that's really letting go of the past, letting go of any goals or things that we think that are in the future that are going to bring us something of value, right? Recognizing, okay, all of this has got zero value, neutral, it's all worthlessness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to and realizing all we're doing is taking the heavy chains off of our mind. I won't go too far because I know this is a little heavy, but the next lesson redeems us, so don't go hanging yourself. Um,
He means that literally, guys.
literally, but but really to recognize that the world has nothing that I want. There's a way that we can show up right here today while we practice this, and that's just letting go. There's a letting go of values. There's a letting go of the purposes that we've assigned to it. It's a recognition of I don't know anything, in the deepest humility. I don't even know what this is for, and I don't even know the thing that I am. So it's an emptying out, but there's a good thing that follows this.
Thank you. And with that, what we're actually asking Holy Spirit to do is as we surrender, I guess, what all the meaning that we've given the body and the world and the past, right? As we surrender that and go, okay, I don't really know what their purpose is, then we're offering to Holy Spirit, we're actually giving him permission to come in and divinely repurpose everything.
Right.
And he does.
Yes.
He doesn't leave anything out if we're willing to give it to him. Yes. All right, give the meaning that it had for us, give that to him, and leave an empty space, and he divinely repurposes everything in our life. And that's how, well, from my experience right now, that's how the process is initiated as far as being able to look past appearances here in the world. Look, in other words, to lift the ego's filter, yeah, and what happens then is that, of course, parts of the real world are brought into our vision. Maybe not our sight through the body's eyes yet, but through our inner vision, Holy Spirit's able to show us what's behind. In other words, every seeming adversity, regardless of what it is, yeah, we're actually, if we're present and we recognize, and we don't jump the gun, and we recognize, wait a minute, this looks like adversity, but I'm not buying it. I'm actually going to pause and give this to Holy Spirit. So Holy Spirit can correct my mind so that the ego sight, filter is somewhat removed. And then we're able to see the miracle behind it. We're open to the miracle behind it, because every attempt at the ego's proof of, devastation is a miracle. Every single one. But we've got to stay there and not flinch and go, okay, I'm seeing what the ego is showing me, but I know that's not real. I want to see the miracle behind this.
Right.
But we need to flex our spiritual muscle. It's a discipline. That's why we need to accept atonement. That's why we have forgiveness. Yeah. Thank you.
You really nailed it on the head for me. Like, where my practice is now is just, I need to create some space. Create the space in our mind of, I'm not going to fill it with what I think this is, or what I think I know about it from the past, and to assert the mythical me into a problem solving role. I'm just going to I'm hands off. Okay, I'm being tempted. I can forgive this right now, and I will, because what I want is the correction of my mind. And so what I'm being tempted with is a projection from my mind. So my mind's the only place that correction can occur. So to begin this process, we've got to not value what it is that we're seeing. The beginning of this is, there's nothing here that I really want. As long as we think there is, we're going to keep engaging, and we're going to keep doing this, birth, death, amnesia, recycle process. So are you willing to just accept, let's look at this together. How has it ever paid off? Is there anything that's ever kept its promise and left you completely at peace and in joy?
So thank you, sis. What you said there is, we really got to give up what we know. We've got to check in to see if we value it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what the ego does then is it hijacks it immediately. This is from my experience. I know I've said this before, but I can't say it often enough. Then through the ego, we believe that we value all the good stuff, right? But when something devastating happens, or something really triggers a crap out of us, do we value it?
Well, we don't know it, but we do.
Right. That's a point I'm trying to make. Thank you. All right. So if I fear physical harm, then I value it.
That's right.
Okay. Right there. There's one to give immediately to Holy Spirit. So anything we fear, anything that we're trying to defend ourselves from, we actually value that. And what we value, we attract, we manifest, we project. Yeah. So it's a big thing. We've got to look at both the positives and the negatives of the human ego value system.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can hear somebody out there going, you cannot possibly tell me that I wanted this disease. I wanted this car accident. I wanted my child to be hurt. And it's, can we just pull back, because that's what's happening on the surface. But what's going on way down underneath is that we're terrified of the love of God. Yeah. If we were to feel the love of God or remember the love of God, we would leap back into our right mind and at home, and mythical me would be over with. And so the accident, the disease diagnosis, or the concern of a child is the perfect running interference to keep that mind so contracted and protected from the memory of God, because it's so not at peace. So the ego doesn't, it wants you to take the token or the symbol and get caught in that, but it doesn't want you to see that this is smoke and mirrors for what you're using it for, which is, as long as I'm, hypnotized and sucked into the story, I am never going to be still and listen and drop into the peace and hear the voice for God and return home. So that's the dynamic.
That's tremendously valuable. Thank you, sis.
There's always something going on in the back room, and that's what I'm looking at. The guy behind the curtain, what's he doing? Don't get duped by what's happening out here. Okay.
Good. Okay, I'll get back to reading.
Okay.
Lesson 128. Okay, paragraph 6 on the FIP version, I think. Pause and be still a little while and see how far you rise above the world when you release your mind from chains and let it seek the level where it finds itself at home. It will be grateful to be free a while. It knows where it belongs, but free its wings and it will fly in sureness and in joy to join its holy purpose. Let it rest in its Creator, there to be restored to sanity, to freedom, and to love. Isn't that beautiful?
I really find so much comfort in that. It's like letting go. I think of holding a ball underwater, the resistance where it just wants to come up into the atmosphere where it's at normal, and how distorted we are and how stressful it is to literally be the light, but to try and understand yourself as something so limited and in the dark. I mean, you can just feel the strain of trying to pull off what can't be done. But that when we free our mind, that we're not responsible. It knows, like a homing pigeon, it just will return to where it always is. It finds its level. It comes back to its natural state automatically, absent the stress that we put on it. I love that. Free its wings, and it will fly in sureness and in joy to join its holy purpose. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Paragraph 7. Give it 10 minutes rest 3 times today. And when your eyes are opened afterwards, you will not value anything you see as much as when you looked at it before. Your whole perspective on the world will shift by just a little every time you let your mind escape its chains. The world is not where it belongs. And you belong where it would be and where it goes to rest when you release it from the world. Your guide is sure. Open your mind to him. Be still and rest. Be still and rest. Oh. And what he means by that, in my experience, is be still and rest. The fastest way for me to be still and rest is to rest in the knowing of my incorruptible innocence. That gives me total rest, because if I stay there long enough and really breathe into my incorruptible innocence, the next thing that comes into my awareness, and this is not just intellectually, is the knowing that I am the will of God. And in that moment, I realize there is no other will. That's where that infinite safety, that infinite security is felt and known. Be still and rest. Yeah. He wants us to know this. And the ego, of course, wants to keep us so busy, so occupied with thinking, doing, all to distract us away from this very simple, holy instant, the only eternal, or the only aspect of time which is eternal, the only aspect of time which is eternal, and that is the holy instant. And that moment when we are aware of that, we've overcome time, we've collapsed time, not just for ourselves, but for everybody. Wow, it's hugely powerful. Be still and rest. Rest in God. Okay, paragraph 8. Protect your mind throughout the day as well. And when you think you see some value in an aspect or an image of the world, refuse to lay this chain upon your mind, but tell yourself with quiet certainty, this will not tempt me to delay myself. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Beautiful.
I'm so deeply reminded, and I know that all of you listening can relate to this, about how when we're taught that the world holds value and that you should pursue this and this and this and this and this, take the average person's day. It was, wake up and what am I going to wear and get off to the gym so the body's healthy, and then get back and get, ready for work. And do you have kids, and are they okay? And is your spouse okay? And you go to work and you work all day and you come home, and then there's housework to do and there's pets to be fed, and maybe go out for dinner, or maybe make a dinner, and then dishes, and then does somebody need help with homework? I mean, and have you given your spouse your private time? It's like, holy smokes. You're pulled in like 100 different ways every single day. And you really think at your at the best. I mean, you really feel like this is legitimate and you're doing the very best you can. And by the world standards, they go, wow, you're such a good mom. You're such a good worker. You're such a good person. Look at all that you do. And it's like, oh, yeah. But, you read this now and you come back and you go, none of that paid off.
It never does.
It never does. And we don't know that until, in the dream, usually, I know there's many, many exceptions, but what, 40s, 50s, where you go, oh my God, I've been duped. I've been running like a mad woman on this treadmill, doing everything the world said, and not one of them paid off. And I mean, not one. And now I'm reading 128. Now I sit here and really get the world I see has nothing that I want, that it will never, ever, ever, ever pay off. But I think each one of us has to discover that for ourselves before we're willing to turn from it. Because while we still think that something's going to pay off, something's going to hit, the jackpot's going to pop. That's what Sis was just talking about. It's all about distraction. When the whole answer is be still and rest. I think that should be taught to every child across the board. Be still and rest. Give that mind over. Anyway.
Yeah, thank you. Beautifully said. Thank you. We can all relate to what you've just explained and shared. Thank you, Sis. And yeah, I don't know if it's appropriate for me to share something.
Why not?
Yeah?
Why not?
Can I?
Sure.
You ready for a bit of a giggle?
I am.
Yeah? It's a pretty heavy lesson.
Okay.
The world I see holds a nothing that I want. Nothing? That means the body I see holds nothing that I want, right?
I love that, to interchange those two. It's so true. Mm-hmm.
That's big, big, big. So I have a confession to make. Last week, just this tops it off, right? Last week, of course, the beginning of spring here in New Mexico, and we usually get a plague of these little tiny ants in the kitchen. There are thousands of them covering our white bench tops in the kitchen. And anyway, I'd had enough. So I went to Amazon, forgive me, and I did a little bit of research, 5 minutes, to find out what would be the best ant baits. Yes. So I came across this review and I'd like to share it with you, because not for the purpose that I thought, as usual, but because I find this is a very humorous summary or a sampling of the human condition.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right? This is the human condition. This is it, We go from negative
Mhm.
to positive. And then we go back to negative again and then to positive. Never in the center. All right, that's the state of the human condition. But here it is. This guy has written it so beautifully. Ant Bait Review. My story is a sad tale to tell. I can hear you giggling, sis. For weeks, I had been battling these fire ants that seemed to invade my room.
Mm.
At the beginning, they were just inside my closet. Slowly but surely, they continued their onslaught and invaded my dirty laundry basket. Can you imagine that? Fire ants, they sting like hell, right? If you believe your body.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they continued their onslaught and invaded my dirty laundry basket. And finally, my bed. I got I got bit quite ferociously by these demonic ants. I asked my apartment complex to spray. They did. It did not work. The ants now went into the kitchen and
Mm.
up to my brother's room. That is when I said, enough. I went to the only place I could get help, Amazon.com. He didn't go to Holy Spirit. I found the reviews of this product quite interesting and decided I would give it a go. I couldn't wait. So I even paid the $4 $4 one day shipping, even though I have Amazon Prime. Surely enough, this is so funny. Surely enough, the next day, trumpets sounded. Archangel Gabriel. Angels came down with him from heaven while light shined on my package of hope and wonder.
I've heard that Gabriel and Michael now work for Amazon Prime. I don't know how they break that. They got it all, I tell you.
They got it. They got it. Okay. So I got my tarot, well, whatever it is. I shouldn't do it. I got my ant baits. I know you guys want to know the brand, but I'm not privy to that, right? I got my liquid ant baits and placed them on ant traps. I grabbed a big bag of chips and set my watch while I committed my crime. After a couple of minutes, I saw one ant come in and start sucking at the drops. I laughed maniacally. How do you pronounce that word?
Maniacally.
Maniacally, while enjoying my evil doing. After about 30 minutes, they were all over the bait. Then I set 4 more baits all over my apartment, and I saw the difference right away. The ants were disappearing. I was so happy. Did the happy dance?
Yeah.
This is it. Until it hit me.
Uh-oh.
I had just committed genocide against this poor colony of ants.
There's the guilt.
Yeah, that's it, right? I found that I missed their company at night on my bed, their company when I cooked or when I did a number 2, when I dressed up, etc. I couldn't believe I had just killed them all. I kept picturing them eating happily and then having a terrible stomach ache and then feeling their insides turn inside out and slowly die. Sorry, guys. Okay. All of those poor tiny creatures gone. Soon, the atrocity of my crime was too much on my shoulders. Alcohol, then, was my salvation. One drink turned into one bottle, and then bottles, plural. Then just plain pain. My life has never been the same afterwards. Anyways, going back to the review of this product, if you are going to wreak havoc, mayhem, pain, and misery on a colony of ants, then buy this product.
Bravo. Bravo. 5 stars.
But isn't that like a brief summary of the human condition?
Oh.
Sorry, your face is aching from.
Oh, no, it's so good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, like a pendulum. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, man, no wonder we look forward to death.
Yeah.
To end the conflict of this bloody life, right? There's the ego right there.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Now she's out of her misery. You know, we're relieved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
So
you.
Did
Thanks
you buy
for
it, sis?
listening. What's that?
Did you buy it?
Yes.
Anya, love. All right. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for your patience. Thanks
you.
for joining us. And don't despair. We have a happier message and mañana. That's tomorrow. So we'll see you then.
See you in the morning.
Bye.